Recording in progress.
Sound check in the room. Excellent. Good afternoon, people. Glad you're here. We will start in a minute or so as we wait for people to arrive to the meeting. But glad you're here, taking some time with us this afternoon. All right, let's get started. Yes, I'm muted, but now I am no longer muted. Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to call this congregational meeting to order, and we will get started. Yes, I know we don't have a gavel, so I'll just pound the table. How about that? We'll get started. So go ahead. I've got Derek running the slides for me. Bryce is in the other room controlling the Zoom polls. I have a room full of people in here, my counters, tellers, everybody. So let's get started. Next slide. All right, so just to practice, to make sure that we can vote, we'll get started with this. This is just helping everybody so that they know how to vote in the Zoom poll. So Bryce, if you have one set up, you could do that for us right now. If you cannot vote in the Zoom poll that you will see pop up on your screen, then type your name in the chat, and you can type Yahoo or whatever you want to note your presence. This is just a check to make sure that we've got Zoom poll ability. Woohoo! There we are. Right. We add that.
Panelists, are you able to vote right currently?
No, we are not.
Okay, so I'll need to figure out
Yeah.
how to do that.
All right, people. Well done. I'm seeing names in the chat. Looks like we're working. Are you good, Bryce?
Yeah, I think I can. I think on the next poll, the panelists will be able to vote as well.
Okay, great. All right, we're going to stop sharing. We've got 100%. Onward. Next slide, please. Okay, we've been called to order. Next slide, please. We're going to beat that minute per slide. Want to do this in an hour and a half, right, people? All right, we will begin in covenant. We have a conversation about our democratic process. We have approval of the December 2025 and the March 2026 congregational meeting minutes that we will vote on. We have two decisive actions today, a slate of candidates. We have the new covenant to vote on. We will hear from Reverend Taryn. We have a short financial report. We will hear from John Guyton and the endowment fund. You will hear some profound and witty or mundane and dry words from me. and then we will close with process observation. So that's what our agenda looks like for today. Next slide, please. All right, Andrea, covenant, hold please while I do my thing. Okay, go.
Our chalice lighting words for this afternoon. In gratitude, we celebrate with open hearts and minds. We discover who we are, separate from each other and within one another. In this circle that holds all life, may we ever work toward widening its boundaries until there are none.
Thank you, Andrea. Okay, now we will proceed to, actually, I had a question in the chat. Let's see. Johanna was saying about Marin Merkel. I believe she's a voting member also. So we will take that. Yes. Okay. Let's do our covenant of healthy relationships. We will start with Doug to help us read this for us, please.
Okay, thank you. The UUCA Covenant of Healthy Relationships. We need not think alike to love alike. One of our Unitarian Universalist ancestors, Francis David, spoke those words more than 400 years ago to describe the foundation of our unity as a religious community. The purpose of this covenant is to increase awareness of the actions each of us can take to nurture and support our beloved community. To this end, we, the people of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta, affirm the following covenant of healthy relationships.
We will be mindful of how we communicate with and about others. We intend to listen actively and seek to understand perspectives and opinions of others, use I statements when expressing our own views, always mindful that our thoughts and opinions may not be shared by others, be respectful and kind in our words, tone, and body language, use email and other forms of communication with respect, kindness, and special care.
We will seek a peaceful and constructive resolution process when conflicts arise. We intend to communicate directly with the person or group involved instead of gossiping or speaking negatively about others in the wider community. Assume that others act with good intention. Check the accuracy of our perceptions and assumptions. Be forgiving and loving when we or others make mistakes. Apologize when warranted and seek to make amends. Call on congregational resources when help is needed.
We will celebrate the diversity within our community. We intend to reach out to others with warmth and kindness in a spirit of welcome, recognize and honor the diversity of beliefs and spiritual paths within our community, including the words and ways people choose to express their spirituality. Be curious, appreciative, and informed about perspectives that differ from our own. Honor the contributions and needs of those who have been historically marginalized in the larger world and in our congregation, and seek growth in our ability to be welcoming.
Okay. I'll continue.
Actually,
Oh,
we will build the common good. We intend to build mutual trust through an honest and responsible use of information. Contribute our gifts of time and talents and financial resources. Encourage and support the involvement of everyone in the life of our congregation. express gratitude and appreciation for the contributions of others. Respect the roles and responsibilities of the congregational leaders. Respects UUCA's established policies and procedures. This covenant of healthy relationships affirms the foundation of our unity at UUCA. Our commitment to one another ensures that our community will be a safe and inspirational place in which we, as individuals and groups, can live out our spiritual journeys.
Thank you, Healthy Relationships Committee. Wonderful. Okay, so for today's meeting, we have our procedural appointments. We have parliamentarian, June Lester. We have recorder, George Macon. We have our tellers, Marianne Horn and Elise Macon. Timekeeper, Carl Polizzi, and process observer, Laura Rose. Thank you all for helping. We appreciate this. So for the meeting protocols, all are welcome to be here, and only those who have been members at least 60 days or youth who joined after the last bridging ceremony, and secondly, have made a non-purchase financial contribution of record for the current stewardship period that is in a form making it attributable to the membership, may participate in discussions and the vote. Participants may pose questions in the chat or Q&A room or raise the hand function to request to speak. Write your name if it's a pro, con, or a procedural question. The chair will recognize speakers preferentially from the procedural list and alternately from pro and con lists. A host will enable the recognized speaker's audio. Comments are limited to 2 minutes. No participant will be recognized to speak on an issue a second time until others wishing to speak have spoken the first time. Procedural mic time is outside of that 30-minute limit that we have. Once recognized, a member may move to amend a motion on the floor. The motion to amend must, of course, be seconded, discussed, and passed, or not passed, by a majority before returning to the main motion. Consistent with our UU values, members should be given every opportunity to present their view as long as comments are relevant to the motion on the floor. Stopping debate before 30 minutes can only be accomplished by the president's recognition of a motion at the procedural mic to call the question, which requires a second and a 2/3 vote. A parliamentarian has been approved by the president to answer questions about procedures. Voting today will be conducted via Zoom poll and the chat. If there are multiple members in the household participating, one may vote via the poll, second may vote using another device or by entering their name and aye or nay in the chat room. Per our bylaws, quorum guidelines require for today, the slate of candidates must have a 10% quorum and the new covenant adoption a 20% quorum. In order to determine the existence of a quorum, we will count via the Zoom poll the number of members eligible to vote participating on your device or their device or whichever device. So as stated above, if there are multiple members that are not on separate devices, each member should select one if you are the only one, and then add to the chat the second person. If you're a non-member, you're welcome to attend, but you may not vote. You should select 0 for that question in the Zoom poll. If you're unable to participate in the Zoom poll, enter your name into the Zoom chat or direct it to the panelists, not all. You can find additional information about how we operate our meetings at uuca.org/governance. So for today, we have 466 eligible voting members. 10% quorum is 46 and 20% is 93. So our tellers will be looking at the Zoom poll results and the chats. Next slide. So we will vote in that Zoom poll now. There it is for us. Please indicate however many are voting on your device and then add names in the chat.
We don't vote, or we just vote in the.
Yeah. Panelists who, if you do not see the ability to do the zone poll on yourself, put your name into the chat. So that way you're counted by the tellers.
Looks like votes have stopped coming in on through the poll, so I'll end it and share the results from that. There is a hand raised by Jerry M. Babbs. Let's see.
Okay. So it looks like we have 20% quorum today. We've just got the tellers in the room here. Marianne Horn's helping out with that. And so, yay, 20%, we can proceed with business. Excellent. Thank you, people. All right, hang on, we need to get rid of this. There we go. Okay, moving on to our first order of business. Approval of minutes.
Who's going over?
George is going to lean
Hello,
over.
everybody. Minutes from the December meeting as posted.
No second is needed. Any discussion? Please put it in the chat or raise your hand. Seeing no hands. I do see a
There's a
hand.
hand. Pam Kilmer.
Pam, we will attempt to unmute you.
Yeah, Pam, you'll need to unmute yourself, but you are allowed to talk.
Sorry, that was a mistake.
Okay. All right, I'm seeing nothing in the chat and no hands raised, so let's vote on these minutes. Again, panelists, go ahead and put yourself in the chat with your vote.
Do you need our votes? We don't know how to vote.
That's from Jerry M. Babbs, actually. Deanne, can you just remind them what to do?
Yes. If you have the ability to, if you don't see the Zoom poll, would have been a pop-up on your screen, then you can put your name in the chat. So if you're on a phone or an iPad, if you hover your cursor down below, you will probably see a bar pop up, and chat should be one of the icons at the bottom. And you should be able to just put your name in and say yes or no or whatever you need to say, whatever your vote is.
And there's another hand raised as well, Deanne.
Go ahead.
Bailey, you can unmute yourself.
So I'm seeing the Zoom poll pop up, and it seems to be, I mean, it's asking the number of members eligible to vote, but I'm not seeing where I can cast a vote on the Zoom poll.
That is an old poll Um, it seems, is anyone else seeing the old poll and not the approval of minutes poll?
This is the approval of minutes.
And it doesn't say at the top, it doesn't say, do you agree to the motion to approve? Yay, nay, abstain?
Okay, yeah, maybe it does.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, we've got different sets of polls that are popping up here too. So, okay.
Okay,
Are you good, Bailey?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Do you want to share the results of this, Bryce?
It should be sharing. It says it is.
It is shared. You're right.
Okay.
I didn't see the screen flip for myself here looking at things. Okay, excellent. So the minutes for the December congregational meeting have been approved. Let's move on to the March meeting, since we had the specially called congregational meeting in March on the solar panels. Take it away, George.
I move we approve the minutes from the March meeting as published.
We do not need a second for that one. Just go ahead and any discussion? Raise your hand. I mean, raise your emoji hand. There's one, Bryce.
Yep.
Oh, it went away.
Okay.
All right. So go ahead and put the Zoom poll up
No, we've
for
got
us.
somebody else now.
Oh, we do have questions again. You're only raising your hand if you have discussion points. So if you have a discussion point, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll unmute you to let you talk.
Yeah, just to say that at the bottom of Zoom, it says raise hand. Raising hand is not voting. Raising hand is letting the people that the panelists, the board know that you want to speak to them. Right now, Holly, you can speak if you'd like.
I don't see a poll. I just see vote to approve. Like before, it would come up and I could click a
Yeah.
selection.
We're in the discussion period right now. We haven't put the vote up yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Bryce, hearing no other discussion, please
Okay,
put the
great.
poll up.
So, just a quick, the poll is still going to say.
Uh-oh.
Did he freeze?
Yeah.
We lost Bryce. Bryce is frozen.
Did that?
There it is. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
That one still says December minutes, Bryce.
Yep. I don't have I can't right now create a new poll, it seems. I can't figure out where to do that while the meeting's going.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the March that we're approving right now.
So this is the March one, approval of the March minutes. Zoom changes the rules on us. Sorry, people, if this gets confusing, but Zoom changes how they do this every time that we sign in. So it's always a little bit of a learning curve as we proceed.
Carry it back. So I have a question again.
Okay, we have another question.
We have never seen how to type.
Okay. If you hover over the bottom of the screen, do you see chat?
Yes.
So click on chat,
Okay.
and in that there should be a box where it says type your message here.
No. Never seen that. And we've never been listed as present.
Okay. Do you see a little box that says to everyone or to
Yes.
hosts and panels? Just below that, put your cursor in there and I bet you can type in there.
It's just everyone.
Okay, so type just below it.
There it is. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all good. I know that when I do this on my own iPad, it doesn't. Yay, there we go. Got your votes. I know that when I'm on my iPad, it doesn't show up. The Zoom polls don't show up sometimes. So I understand. It's a little bit tricky. Okay.
Since it's two of them, they should type two names.
Okay. That one passes. Let's continue on. Very good, people. 2 for 2. We have a question. Will the March special meeting be added to the 2026?
On its own,
It has its
separate.
Yes, it's separate minutes. It should have its own posting. And let me know if they're not there. I see that in the chat. Okay. Elected positions. Elizabeth, do you want to take over here?
Yes. So we want to thank those that serve for the 25-26 year on the Board of Trustees. They will be rolling off is Deanne Peterson, Laura Rose, and Terry Carpenter. From the nominating committee, Elizabeth Field, Jane Mengel, Ben Tarr, and Cheryl Delaney are rolling off. And from the stewardship committee, David Yamashita and Laura Yamashita will be rolling off from those positions. So our Board of Trustee nominations, we've got Andrea Barrow for President-elect, a one-year term. Joining current officers are Derek Bomba, will be the incoming president for a one-year term, and Colin Murphy as the finance trustee for, he's got 1 year remaining. Board of Trustees at large nominees are Larry Vogler. He's going to be serving a 3-year term. Margaret Williams serving a 3-year term, and Hannah Carey will be serving a 2-year term. New coming to the nominating committee for nominees are Jules Rube, who will serve a 2-year term. Vincent Hill. We've got saying serving a 2-year term, but I was under the impression it was going to be a 1-year term. We'll work
Okay.
that out.
Duly
Um,
noted. We'll make sure that that gets noted. Sorry for
yeah,
interrupting, Elizabeth. Thank you.
No, that's fine. Kira Steinberg and then also Terry Carpenter will be serving 2-year terms, both of them. The stewardship committee nominees are Jason Delaney, co-chairing with Cheryl Delaney. Each will be serving a 2-year term, and they'll be joining our current stewardship team of Beth Carpenter and Kevin Sneddon, who will be serving their second of a 2-year term. So I'd like to move that we approve this slate of nominees presented to UUCA by the nominating committee.
Excellent. Thank you, Elizabeth. No second is needed. Is there any discussion? Seeing no chats, seeing no hands raised, go ahead and put the vote up for us, Bryce. Thank you. Again, panelists, go ahead and use the chat. I'm still seeing a few chat votes coming in here. Bryce, are you seeing
It looks
any
like,
other?
yeah, it looks like online polling that I don't see any more coming in, so I can go ahead and share the online. And we've been asked to call out the numbers for the online poll.
Yes. Okay, so for the yays, we have 97% yes, 101 votes, or excuse me, 98. But we have one abstention and two non-voting visitors. So, and then as I saw through the chat, it looked like 100% coming in through the chat too. So yay, and welcome to everybody who's joining all of those various positions.
I'm
We
going to lean
appreciate
in.
you. Sorry?
I'm going to lean in and add a comment about voting numbers. If you look at the minutes when they're posted, I will have aggregated all the numbers from all the places and put them in the minutes.
Yes. Thank you, George. Thank you, thank you. Excellent people. We appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody who has served and is rolling off. You've done a tremendous job for the congregation to help keep things rolling. So thank you for that. Okay, Derek, are you next? I think we're working on the covenant, so let me mute and turn it over to you. Hold on.
Okay. Hopefully you can all hear me. Bryce, okay, excellent. So, one of the agenda items for this meeting is to present for approval a new covenant. And since we didn't actually organize enough to get different people to read this to you during this meeting, I will. So you will have to listen to my voice for the next couple of minutes. UUCA's Covenant of Healthy Relationships is 15 years old and has served us through a period marked by tremendous change. In recognition of the evolving nature of this community, its growing membership, and a desire to reflect the live space that we inhabit today, the members of the Healthy Relationships Committee and the Volunteer Covenant Writing Group propose this new covenant of healthy relationships. Centering the love that binds us and nurtures our spirit, we walk the road of our Unitarian Universalist tradition, guided by curiosity and a commitment to the work of transformation. We join together in fellowship, teach our children, steward the earth, share generously with others, and aspire to reach further each day. This we promise. Radical welcome is our foundation. We will embrace everyone we encounter with a spirit of curiosity and gratitude, treating them the way we wish to be treated. Diversity and pluralism expresses the fullness of our community. We will respect the voices, wisdom, and perspective of others and of other traditions. A person's identity is their sacred truth. We will support the freedom of others to responsibly live the life they choose. A healthy community is grounded in connection that grows in depth and care. We will engage others directly, speak respectfully from our own experience, and listen to understand. Our words touch those around us. We will speak with care and sensitivity, responsive to how we are heard. Self-discovery is a lifelong practice. We will be mindful of how our personal history affects our perception of another's words or actions. Seeking justice is an obligation of our faith. We will pursue it with purpose and solidarity. Courageous action is our strength. We will lead and follow with equity and compassion, no matter how challenging the road. Our world extends beyond these walls. We will bring the power of our community to the meaningful work of civic and social transformation. We commit to hold ourselves and each other accountable to this covenant as we move towards becoming a safe and beloved spiritual community. I'll now move that we approve this proposed new covenant of healthy relationships as presented by the HRC and the covenant writing group. No second is needed.
Okay, no, I'll take over
Oh.
if you want, but you gotta mute, that's all. Yeah. Excellent. So what fabulous work. All right, so it's been moved. No second is necessary that we approve the new proposed covenant. So discussion. So we've had a request to put the entire text in the chat. Derek, are you able to do that? Or a link to the PDF? We will do what we can, Jennifer. That's a great question.
Actively while I'm sharing.
Yeah, hard part is Derek is sharing right now. Okay, we're working on it. We'll work on that to get the whole text in the chat or the link. Any other discussion? Questions?
Or if you go to Realm, it's on our mobile post, you could download it from our Realm message.
Or in the board minutes.
We've got David Stewart.
Okay, we have a question, a hand raised.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm curious about it came at me rather fast. I'm not completely sure, but I think one of the items was sort of like golden rule centric, and I'm curious if some thought was put into that, whether it should be how we would like to be treated or how they would like to be treated. I know it's somewhat of a nit, but that's sort of the gist of the difference between the golden rule and the platinum rule. So I just was curious if some thought had gone into that.
Which line in particular are you referencing, Dave?
I believe it was the second point.
Okay, hang on. I'm gonna let Derek have that. Go ahead.
So I believe you're referring to the point that says diversity and pluralism expresses the fullness of our community. We will respect the voices, wisdom, and perspective of others and of other traditions.
No, there was one that had verbiage, something along the lines of welcome them how we would like to be welcomed or something like that.
We talked about it.
Radical welcome is our foundation. We will embrace everyone we encounter with a spirit of curiosity and gratitude, treating them the way we wish to be treated.
And it's not so much that I'm proposing different language, just to check in to see if we, if anyone was thoughtful about just golden rule versus platinum rule, or if there was a rationale for treating someone else how we want to be treated instead of treating someone else how they want to be treated. That's all. Thank you.
That's a great question. I'm not sure that I've ever heard the expression of the platinum rule and treating others how they want to be treated. I think the inspiration there was the golden rule in that treat others the way you would hope to be treated. So I'm not sure what else to say about that. It's just, yes, that is part of the inspiration and the idea of just, putting oneself in the context of a situation and understanding how you would feel if you were treated in less than respectful or caring ways, and to be mindful of being respectful and caring to others then.
You should unplug your headphones so we can hear.
Because I can't assist.
I'm seeing some other comments.
Yeah, we'll handle those.
Oh, in Q&A. 2 questions in Q&A.
Got it. I'll do that.
I'll email.
I do see some comments. Embrace everyone we encounter. This seems reckless. I would greet without embracing. I would just think perhaps a way to think of that is metaphorically. It doesn't suggest rushing up and just openly hugging somebody without checking. That is where they're at. Let's see. Cindy, if you would like a birthday cake, but the other person is gluten intolerant, you should get them what they want. Yes, absolutely. And I would just say open that wider, the idea of, not treating them the way I want to be treated specific to my likes and dislikes, but I want to be treated with awareness and respect of my likes and dislikes. And so I want to be sure to treat other people with respect and awareness of their likes and dislikes, not specifically exactly how I like and see the world. Let's see.
You're the only one that's got the voice right now, Derek. So
Okay, I'm just looking through these comments. I have readings on this debate that David referred to. Sorry, I not written this up. I think David's point is a good one. Yes, I agree that David's point is a good one, and I would just suggest, as I said, a broad reading that recognizes that when one wishes thinks about how they want to be treated, it's not specific to their likes or needs. It's with an awareness of that respecting one's likes and needs is important the way I wish my likes and needs would be respected. That is how I want to see and encounter other people, understanding that their likes and needs are different than mine. Should we invite a proposal just from Tony to an amendment from those who wish the word they be used instead of the current wording? I think verbally.
your mic, you have an open mic and you're reading out loud. Okay.
If amendment, so we can, right now we're in discussion, but is that correct, George or June, our parliamentarians? Could this be amended right now? It could be.
And if someone can propose an amendment to amend the motion and suggest alternate wording, then that would have to be seconded and discussed and voted on.
Yes, we're still in discussion. Sorry, there's a little bit of a technical issue here because because of muting and microphones, all of that. So technically, yes, we could have a amendment that is placed in a motion and an amendment to be placed in front of this. I just wanted to remind people that this is why we had the town halls. And I don't mean to be chastising, but this is why we had the town halls. The covenant group had, how many sessions did you have, Derek? 10 sessions? 6 sessions, feedback sessions, and 3 town halls for exactly this wonderful, wonderful type of wordsmithing that we all love to do. So I'm fine with amendments here, but we could end up in a pretty long rabbit hole. So that's that's where I'm standing with this. So I'm going to unmute Dave Stewart that started this conversation. Can you do that for me, Bryce?
He's been unmuted the whole time.
Okay. David, do you have something that you want to put into a motion that is succinct and to the point, or do we need to open this up for more? I don't really want to open up the whole thing for discussion. We would need to table this if that's the way that it's going to happen here.
Yeah, first, let me just apologize for not having attended the town hall sessions that I clearly should have. And second, let me, I guess, quickly, I just saw the one blurb quickly, and I haven't seen it in the link, so I'm going to struggle a little bit to propose something, but I will give it a go. I mean, instead of saying how we would want to be treated, I guess I would say how they would want to be treated, but not being enough aware of what's previously transpired because of me not attending those previous meetings, maybe it might not be completely appropriate. But either way, I'll put that language up so that we can vote, and then I will consider it done no matter how it goes. I'm not trying to drag this out or make this difficult. Thank you.
Okay, I know that there was other people also behind you that also had some wordsmithing to do. I also see Jason has put something in here.
Deanne, I assume that was offered as an amendment to the motion, right?
He's waiting to put it into words, I think. Yes. I think he was going to put it into the chat. Dave, are you still there?
Okay.
Yeah, if you're asking me, I can I'll type something right now.
I have a hand raised. Anthony, go ahead. Tony, go ahead.
We actually do have an amendment on the floor in the chat now.
Where is it? Okay. I must be behind because the chats are flying here.
I was just going to ask for the slides to be reversed, so they have been, so I'm good.
Got it. Okay.
The motion on the floor is from Gene Woodall. Move to replace those words with treating with understanding, respect, and kindness.
So I'm not sure what those words you mean on that, Gene.
Gene,
you have to
can speak.
When it's a motion, you really have to be very, very specific as to replacement, blah, 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 blah.
Gene, yeah, you can speak. Gene, I show you're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
We're having a discussion at the table. Sorry. Okay, so friendly amendment from Dave Stewart, replace we with they to replace golden rule with platinum rule. June, you have something?
Deanne, since Gene's proposed amendment was presented before the wording of the one that David was talking about. I think we have to find out if we've got a second for that one and discuss that one and vote on it and then go to David's.
Okay, I appreciate you. Did Jean's have specific wording? Jean's was not.
He needs to specify what those words are, and I haven't seen. Oh,
right.
That she says she does not have a microphone. So if we don't have any specifics about what the words are, then we can't deal with it as an amendment without the specificity that you ask for.
Right. And so that's why I was considering it to be a non-valid motion at the moment. So I was dealing with Dave's first. Does that make sense?
Yes, she hasn't put anything else in the chat that I have seen. But David also says to replace we with they, and that needs to be specific about in which
one. Yes.
What point that is applied to.
Yes, I need specific as to which bullet point, as to which words.
And George did place that in the chat. So for anyone that needs to pull up a copy of that, there's a linked PDF in the chat. We have a hand raise from Sarethiel. Sarethiel, if you just unmute yourself, you'll be able to speak.
Hello. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, are y'all able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I think I would just, if I'm able to, maybe clarify Jean's motion. I think Derek has also just done it in the chat to say, we can replace the very ending of this sentence, the way we wish to be treated, with understanding, respect, and kindness. So treating them would stay the same, but then we would replace the final words, quote, the way we wish to be treated, end quote, with respect, understanding, and kindness.
So that gives us specificity for an amendment to the motion that's on the floor. We need a second before we can discuss it.
And I will second that motion.
Discuss this amendment.
I will second it.
Okay, and this is on which bullet?
The first bullet.
Okay, so we're replacing, I just need to be clear on this so that I can say it out loud too. We are replacing the way we wish to be treated to treating them with understanding, respect, and kindness. That is the current motion on the floor. It's been seconded by Sarethiel. And I have to open it up for discussion on that amendment. So if everybody understands what the motion is. Bryce, are you going to be able to get a Zoom poll on this? Bryce is, sorry, okay. So where we are currently at, we have a motion on the floor on the first bullet that is on your screen, replacing treating them with the way we wish to be treated with, now I moved it.
With treating.
With, to the, so. With treating them with, okay, so we're replacing the way we wish to be treated with understanding, respect, and kindness. And I'm going to scroll down into the chat. If there was discussion around this.
There is a hand raised by Cindy Hoffner.
Cindy, go ahead.
Yeah, I also apologize. I did not attend the meetings, and it hadn't occurred to me until David raised that point. But I teach media ethics, and I teach about ethical theories, and I've had with my students many discussions about the golden rule and all the problems with it, which were mentioned. And so I really like Jean's. I would like to just speak in support of Jean's amendment. I think those three words uh, capture what we really want to do with people, especially when we're greeting them. We can't necessarily speak with them to find out necessarily what they want, but those are good ways to just treat everyone. So I think that removes that problem of assuming that the way we want to be treated is the way they want to be treated. Even with neurodiversity, for example, people may not want to be, or any kind of reason, people might not want to be hugged or might not want to be whatever, and that if we just endeavor to treat them with understanding, respect, and kindness, then I think that captures it without assuming that what we want is what they want.
Okay, so that was a pro that you were for the amendment.
Yes, that's the pro, Mike. Yes, I'm in favor of the amendment.
I'm just clarifying things because it's fairly confusing right now. Just making sure everybody's understanding. Okay, I'm hearing or I'm seeing no other discussion on that motion of replacing those words. I'm seeing no hands raised. Okay, so this is on the amendment for the first bullet. We have a motion on the floor to replace treating them with the way we wish to be treated with treating them with understanding, respect, and kindness.
Jerry has that raised. Or we're moving.
Are you ready for me to launch that poll again?
Let's take care of Jerry and Babs. We have a hand raised.
Okay, Jerry and Babs, you can speak.
Go ahead.
I'm feeling a need to first, as I'm greeting someone, to be paying attention. And today's sermon about attentiveness. First, we have to pay attention. Then we can do these three things that I so agree with Jean.
Exactly. I agree with you, Babs. I think it's covered in a spirit of curiosity, which is one of the other bullets further down.
It may be.
It's
sorry, it's in
consideration.
Yeah. Right. That's the spirit of curiosity there. Sorry. It's in the same bullet. I agree.
Okay.
Okay. Bryce, do you have the ability to vote for us here on this amendment?
I believe so. Let's see if I did this right.
Curiosity doesn't mean that. Ooh.
Are we going to vote?
Panelists, go ahead and put it into the chat.
Oh, I see.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay.
While this votes are still coming in, do we know the count that we'll need for an amendment?
Yeah, we're still in the 20%.
Okay.
We're still in the 20%. We've lost people on here, so I'm just making sure because okay. Simple majority to amend it. Okay.
Yes, right.
Right. Jim's agreeing. Thank you. My two parliamentarians. I appreciate you, love you, and adore you.
And you still have 20% quorum.
Yes.
Yes, we do. You're right.
So I'm sharing the poll results. 68 yay, 9 nay, 11 abstain.
And then we have the chat where I've seen one or two nays is all. Okay, so motion carries. Well done, people, on this tricky platform. How to do this in a tricky platform. Okay, so that is the amendment. We go back to the covenant as a whole. So we have a motion on the floor and a second, I can't talk now, and a second for the covenant as a whole. Nope. So any further discussion? Any other of the amendments that people were having issue with? We have our hand raised. Carol, go ahead. Bryce will unmute you.
Go ahead, Carol. You'll just need to unmute yourself.
Are we getting ready to vote on the covenant as a whole, as amended?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Thank you. I didn't say that as amended, and I should have added that. So thank you, Carol. Want to be parliamentarian?
Right. Yes, correct. You have one other hand up.
Yes, we have a hand up as panelist. Andy, I think you can speak anytime.
Hi. There is a suggestion in the chat that people vote no if they want further changes and amendments on the covenant. And I guess I was wondering what the implications of that would be if the covenant did not pass.
If it did not pass, we are still in need of a new covenant. The current one that we have is dated. I think that was back in my original tenure, Nancy Bartlett and Crowd and et cetera, when we did the first one, and the language is dated, the scenarios are dated, et cetera. So we still need to do one. So if it fails to pass at this time, the HRC would probably have a conversation about, holding more sessions to have more wordsmithing or whatever needed to have happen. But that's reality of it.
Pulling together a new group of people
Or
to take a fresh look
right.
at writing.
Or, talking writing a new one and specifically talking to people who had amendments if there was issues around that too. So we have a question here. Did Dave Stewart withdraw his amendment? And the full copy for review was in the chat. George, can you repost it? Because it's probably buried about 200 chats ago. Yes. So we'll put it up again. And that's without the amended words. Before the amendment. So yes, there it goes.
George, you posted that just to the host and panelists instead of to everyone.
There it goes. And Dave was withdrawing his suggested amendment. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate you. Yeah, our screens default to panelists, so we have to do that. Any other comments?
I had a question. This is Bryce as a member. If someone felt so inclined, instead of voting nay, could they just vote to table this until the next meeting?
That would be its own motion.
That has to be its own motion. As advised by my parliamentarian to my side. Yes, Cindy, I know I was on the board about that time, so that's why I remember Cindy's got it. The current covenant was written soon after Anthony McCarr arrived in about 2007. Yes, I remember because I was on the board. Jules, you should see it. It was reposted again to everyone.
The PDF.
It's a PDF. Click. It's a link. Some people are still not seeing it.
If you have a copy of the weekly update, any of the issues from the last couple of months, it's in there. It's in Realm. It's a message that Derek posted a couple of weeks ago in Realm.
I didn't find it.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be an issue that it's a PDF, Jules is saying, and maybe not be showing up on cell phones.
On a cell phone, on a mobile, right? All right, George posted a link on Realm. You may have to log into Realm to be able to see it. Okay, I am not seeing any additional discussion. No hands raised, additional chats. So, Bryce, go ahead and put the vote up. Let's do it. It'll be all right, Derek. Just
the wording there should be as
amended.
Not as presented, but as amended. As presented and as amended.
Okay, hang on. We will vote again. Everybody who just voted, I'm sorry. We had a little bit. It should say as amended.
Yeah, I have to go into a web browser and go to the Zoom website and change it in the settings. I can't do it in the thing there. So
give us a minute.
Yeah.
I apologize, people. Good discussion, y'all. Cats that can write. Cats that love wordsmithing cats. It's all good. If you ever want to see somebody do this for real, go to a General Assembly and they do it in front of 5,000 people.
Coming up in June.
Yeah, yes. Still looking for delegates on that matter. Yes, you need to, if you want to be a delegate, please complete the form.
Could someone just give me the wording, because I already launched that poll, it will not let me edit it now. So I need to create a brand new poll, and if someone just give me a specific wording, it'll probably make things easier.
Just movement to approve as amended.
Could someone type it in the chat for me so I can copy and paste?
Sure.
Please?
George, can you help? Yeah. Okay, George is helping.
Thank you.
Hang in there, people. We're holding on for Reverend Taryn. She's coming. There'll be lots of good stuff. Can't wait to hear how much the endowment fund is, what it's doing. And here we go. It's all good. Short, wonderful financial report. We'll make it quick. So hang in there. Hang in there, people. We've got more good stuff coming to you. Yeah, Jeopardy music would be good. No, I don't want it. It's not about that. I'll just keep the entirely entertaining banter coming at you. While you're waiting, you could buy tickets to Hate Mail. You can buy tickets to Hate Mail at this time. If you don't know where to go, there's a slide coming soon which will have a QR code that you can purchase tickets. Please come to the play. Somebody asked me to do a tap dance. No, I don't tap dance. I love to dance, but I don't tap dance. Too funny. Too funny.
Okay, let's see if I've got this ready to go now.
Okay, here we go. Sorry about that glitch. Here we go. We have to approve the covenant of healthy relationships as amended. Please vote again, even if you did in the chat. Are you still seeing results, Bryce?
I just had one pop in. Let's give it about 20 more seconds.
Okay.
Just had one more.
Chat looks positive, simple majority yes in the chat.
All right, I'll close the online poll and share the
Sharing the
results.
results. So that 92% is 79 people. We have 3% nays. Some it's 3 votes nay, sorry, 3 votes nay, 2 abstentions, and 2 non-member that are just watching us do this fun process. Woohoo! Okay, motion carries. We have a new covenant of healthy relationships. Yay, people! Oh, thank you to the HRC and the Covenant Writing Group. Y'all, fantastic. Well done, well done. Good job, everybody. Okay, next slide. Carry on. Let's go. Reverend Taryn, are you with us? She was walking around the hallway with her computer a minute ago, so.
Yes. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I was just looking for better internet. And I hope I found it. So I hope that this goes smoothly for y'all, for all of us. So I am here to give the executive report, and I've invited 2 people to join me at different points in this report. So at some point, Reverend Ian Hill will give a little part of this report from the associate minister, and at another point, I'll invite Bryce Thomason in to share from your executive director's desk how it's been going. So this year, the theme of this year in worship certainly, but also in ministry, was pilgrimage. This has been a year of growth, trust, healing, and becoming. This was a year that I took my first sabbatical. And so I have some report actually from that sabbatical as well. So pilgrimage, so the worship team meets each year to decide on our great theme of each year. And they'll be meeting at the end of this month to decide on our theme next year. Pilgrimage invites us to move with intention, embrace transformation, and trust for who we are becoming singularly and also together. And I think this is one of my photos.
It is.
Yes, it is. So some of these photos are photographs that I took while walking the Camino de Santiago trail. This was a mystery, misty mountain day that people kept calling hills, but they were mountains. So the first portion of our executive report from this past year focuses on our religious education program. Thanks be to our fabulous religious education director, who is right now celebrating her 25th year as a professional religious educator, Laura Beth Brown. We're very proud to celebrate her 25th year in UU religious education. And then also thanks be to our religious education assistant, also Camille Cassingham, who keeps these ships running on time and moving smoothly. So I really saw in the religious education department's report sort of 3 sections. We are focused on growth, growing our participation as well as our impact. I mean, we really are trying to grow the numbers of kids who we have registered and attending on Sunday mornings to return to what we feel is a vibrant percentage point of our congregation, you know, of a showing of kids and families that make up a really strong percentage of the larger congregation. Finally, one of the main goals for this past year was integration, looking at how this program, the religious education program, acts not as a silo, but as well integrated in the rest of the life of the congregation. And then finally, depth of content, being responsive and spiritually challenging people's formation, and really partnering with all of you, bringing content that will partner with your own spiritual work that you're doing. So I have some news about that. Next slide. So this is exciting. This year we had 121 children and youth registered, which is up from 104. This is good news. And by the way, this has been trending in this direction for the last couple of years. So we are coming out of pandemic and out of our and into our new campus very strong, and adding around 20 new registrants each year. Some of the highlights are our whole lives. We did our whole lives for K through first, fifth through sixth grade, and seventh and eighth. They're all max capacity for all of these age groups. So we really could not fit any more kids in these classrooms. Our Mosaic curriculum, which focuses on anti-racism, anti-oppression, teaching and learning, was offered from kindergarten through eighth grade this year. So that was a really big focus. And then, as I mentioned in the sermon, our UU Heritage pilgrimage to Boston. So, we are taking pilgrimages of all sorts all of this year, and this has long been a dream to bring back the UU Heritage pilgrimage. So that was exciting. And then another dream that has been a lot of people have been working on for the past couple of years was to have a summer day camp for kids in our program and in Atlanta at large. And that is happening this summer. So we'll learn a little bit more about that. So we are a faith that travels. Here's an image from our 5 youth who came with 2 adults for 4 days and 3 nights exploring Boston and also Concord. And I believe they also went to Walden Pond to see where Henry David Thoreau's house was. So you supported their efforts to learn about their Unitarian faith, history, and tradition by fundraising, including them in our annual Share the Plate fundraising. This helped them reduce their costs by more than $500 per student, which is just really great news. So they felt supported. And if you talk to any one of these youth, they will tell you great stories and how excited they were to learn and deepen their UU identity on their Boston Heritage trip. It really did the job, and I'm grateful to everyone who made it happen. And also Arlene Johnson, who is our youth ministries coordinator. So here are some various images from a fabulous year of deepening connections and learning together and doing some puppet shows with our religious education program. I'm excited that Camp Phoenix will finally be happening this summer. And what's more exciting is that we are finding a way to integrate this outside of the walls of UUCA. So we are partnering with the International Rescue Committee, and we are welcoming 5 children who are Afghan refugees who are part of families who are Afghan refugees to join Camp Phoenix this year. So I'm really excited. I have a personal history with UU Summer Camp that also did this kind of outreach work. And I'm just excited to see how it grows and where it goes from here. So thank you to everybody who's making that happen. I know it's a major effort. And then we also are proud to offer the Village. We learned that in the pandemic and after, that parents these days just need a lot of extra support. So the Village is our parent support group. It's a growing place of connection and belonging for families. Parents lead Sunday offerings. They're growing in their own ownership and participation, and they're also building some community beyond Sunday morning. So those of you who raised kids in a different era and time at UCA, you know what this kind of village of co-parents can really, how that can build your faith connection to your faith home. So we're excited about all of this happening. In adult religious education, I hope that you are someone who we can count as one of these participants. We had about 150 more or less participants this year. The ARE team did a great job partnering with the Healthy Relations Committee to talk about covenant. Also worked with our Legislative Action Network to talk about voting issues. and really partnered with Transforming Incarceration and Advocacy in Action. And then our most successful program to date, they partnered with our Immigration Action Team, which drew about 60 to 70 participants across 3 Sundays. So we learned a lot from that, what it takes to make a really responsive, in the moment, meet the moment with our religious education programming. And we also learned what how that benefits you and your interest and what it takes to make it happen. So we heard that when an issue is really prescient and salient to you, you will find yourselves driving to church early or late and attending our adult RE program. Laura Beth also developed an original curriculum this year. She partnered with Interfaith Atlanta and developed a 101 level exploration of Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, Sikhism, and Buddhism. And so that has been a 10-session program of interfaith encounters. We heard you that you were jealous of the youth who got to learn about multiple religions as part of their RE classes. And so Laura Beth made it happen and brought that programming to you. Right now, RE also includes small group ministry. That's an area that's not necessarily growing in numbers, even though it's growing in depth. So we did have more new participants in our small group ministry, but only 58 participants, which is down from 79 people last year. In my opinion, if we really are a 500-member congregation, we should be having like 250 of you engaging in small group ministry. I would really like to see half the congregation showing up to small group ministry. So we are going to look at rebuilding, reimagining, and thinking about what it would take to deepen your involvement in small group ministry. I invite you to think about that for yourself. What kind of small group ministry program would engage you and motivate you to show up to something outside of a Sunday morning worship experience? This is a great way in a large congregation to build, deepen relationships and to do that kind of intimate spiritual work that you can only do in a small group. And then finally, there's a lot. Okay, finally, from the desk of the Religious Education Department, they put on a great event. They worked with the Voices of Note, which runs the Gay Men's Chorus and the Atlanta Women's Chorus, to put on an event just a week ago called Pride and Purpose, celebrating women, BIPOC, and LGBTQIA communities. And I attended the event. I moderated a panel for this event. It was outstanding. We watched this incredible movie called The Inquisitor about the life and career of Congresswoman Barbara Jordan from Texas. And it was just really inspiring. And I would love to think about another time that we could screen that film because I was so grateful to learn about that history. And it was just a great exercise in co-sponsoring a larger scale event. So I think they learned a lot from the event, and there may be some more possibilities in a future year. Next slide. Okay, so we hired a second minister this year. It's very exciting. The search committee brought and I hired Reverend E.N. Hill. And so a lot of this year has really been about how to do that radical welcome that we keep talking about, how to pave the way for an associate minister to join us and to really feel like they can be our minister. And one of those ways was for me to get out of the way. And so I think it actually worked out really well that I was on sabbatical during the first part of Reverend Ian's onboarding because he got to just enjoy building relationships with you without me hovering over everything. So I think that was really great. Reverend Ian said, what could have simply been onboarding became the beginning of a deeply welcoming and grounded ministry. And then I think this is the part where I'm going to invite Reverend Ian to share a little bit about what has been going on and where things are headed in the realm of social justice. And
Thank you.
Great, go for it.
Thank you. And actually, before I dive directly into the realm of social justice, I just want to first say thank you to the congregation and thank you so much to the staff. And if that previous screen that had a picture of a whole bunch of people, that was the Thrive donors. And that really played a big role, in my opinion, in investing not only in me being here, but investing in me thriving while I'm here. And I've really felt that. And I just wanted to make sure that I emphasize how significant it is. And a part of the reason why I am greeting you from this porch is this is the front porch of now where I live. And a part of the welcome that y'all provided was the deep welcome of me to not only UUCA, but to Atlanta. And so this congregation and staff and all of you are a huge reason why. And that first picture there, I also want to thank everyone who gave me that huge welcome card when I first arrived. That was my very first day at UUCA that Reverend Taryn greeted me and showed me my lovely office. So thank you so much. Now we can go into the justice. And I promise I'm going to do this in under 5 minutes. And so I wanted to start this just naming that this strategy that I created, some folks have who've been showing up for the justice meetings have saw the strategy that I started developing and know that it didn't start with like a whiteboard. It started the minute that I showed up and got swept up into Pride planning, volunteering with the climate action team, and everything that happened was truly a gift because it showed me the way that UUCA really shows up to everything that they do. Y'all deeply care about justice. Y'all are some passionate people. And as Reverend Taryn said, you will organize behind your values and show up early on a Sunday morning or late on a Saturday. And so I really want to do with this strategy is simply give you that energy in a more coordinated, with more clarity and more room to grow sustainably. If you go to the next slide, please. And I found while working with everyone that everything really rests on these three commitments. First, justice as spiritual, as a part of our spiritual formation, knowing that when we stand outside in the cold, as an example, I know many folks on that other picture were showing up with the mobile food pantry during the winter. And that is like the service before self in a way that really honors, and someone named while we were out there that's a spiritual discipline. Because one morning it was like freezing cold and folks didn't have gloves, we didn't have hats, but people were still showing up, and that was a part of the spiritual, their practice of spiritual discipline. The second, co-liberation as the norm. Many of us know that we don't do justice for people, we do it with people. That solidarity and not charity, and it's just really grounding and centering and making sure that we're all aligned with that mindset as a whole congregation. And the other congregational wide clarity is keeping all of us knowing why we engage, who we partner with, how to participate, and the impact that we're seeking. So that one I think is the part that really needs the most attention, because so many of us have individual passions or smaller passions that everyone doesn't know about and isn't involved in. And so I'm really wanting to be a part of the invitation to help us strategize and get more focused. Next slide. And so along with that strategy of focus and getting more, I noticed that I got here in the end of summer around Pride time, and I felt like I got to watch this year in kind of a blueprint where we moved from Pride in the late summer to doing some housing work or homeless advocacy work and with the Nicholas House. And then moving into immigration justice as ICE activity started really ramping up and intensifying through the winter. And all throughout that time, people in this congregation, they showed up at the vigils, at the Capitol, in the streets. The Legislative Action Network was active in small ways. And honestly, I'm hoping that we can get into more good trouble next year around the legislative action season. So I'm imagining that we could do something that is, instead of a blending, like where everything is pouring into each other, where it seems like we're running from one activity to another. If we could hold in mind that this is the flow that we tend to move in, maybe we could be more coordinated in our activities. But this is just a showing of what we did and the idea of how we could go forward. There's not any voting required. And I'll have a last slide about how we might be involved. But before that, the next slide, please. One thing I heard from people this year was that BIPOC folks and our LGBTQ plus members, especially trans and gender expansive folks, we really need spaces that feel truly for them, not just conversations about them. And so the Drum ATL launch was something that I really want to center at the start of my ministry. And the things that are listed on the screen are some of the things that I had in the strategy that I wanted to try out. Drum is still in its building as could be imagined. And the LGBTQ ministries, some folks remember that Interweave existed, and we do show up to support Pride planning, but we don't have a actual group right now. And I'm hoping that might get some more traction in the upcoming year. And my last slide, please. Thank you. And so here's where I'm wrapping up. UUCA already has the people. We already have the passion. We already have the partnerships. And so what I'm hoping we can do is build clearer pathways for engagement, like joining I'm calling them hub teams. And it's just some of our existing groups like the Legislative Action Network that has a lot of people who are on the mailing list, but not as many people who are committed and showing up. So I'm suggesting that people get involved with some of the existing groups. The Legislative Action Network, Climate Action, Women Empowered. Queer ATL is not a full-on group, but that's a hope. So if people are interested, and I won't name all of the things on the screen, but the one that we already do, but I'm wanting some more clarity. I wanted to share more explicitly about the Share the Plate partnerships. This past year, I was more intentional about the local organizations that we work with and trying to ground that Share the Plate with the usually the diversity, equity, and inclusion that we might be centering that month, trying to shape our services that are justice activities in that kind of model. That did prove kind of challenging and a lot of work on my end. And I'm wanting to invite more partnership around that kind of coordination and planning so that we can all be on the same page. And that's the last thing that I'll say about that. But overall, we are choosing how we bless the world and how we show up for each other. And we're going to keep doing that with greater coordination and clarity. I don't know if that was 5 minutes, but I tried to do it quickly. There you go.
Thank you, Reverend Ian. That was wonderful. And I just hope that one of the things that you all are taking away from this, and there will be many more discussions about this, so don't worry, is this sense of seasonal justice focus, so that there may be a season where you are called to turn your focus from a justice effort and towards a justice effort that really requires like an all hands on deck for a season. So that's the kind of thing that we're talking about. That's the kind of thing that you can expect this coming year. And you may have questions, you can email us about that. But there will also be additional other conversations about how this is going to shape into this seasonal justice focus across a year together at UUCA. I wanted to talk a little bit about our music ministry, which is having a really big moment also. So we are in a phase of rebuilding and reimagining. You know, we transitioned this year from 17 years of music leadership under Donald Milton III, our longtime music director. And now we are have been in a phase of rebuilding and reimagining this music program. We have a music advisory committee, and I forgot to write everybody's name down, but I'm going to try and really hard to remember. It's Jules Rube, it's Aaron Kistenberg, Michael Dangerfield, I think Sharon Glass, Eric Pohl, Paula Keinert, and Jennifer Thilo is the chairperson of the Music Advisory Committee. Do I have that right? I think that's everyone. Okay, great. Yay. So we are, so they had, while I was away on sabbatical, they held a number of listening sessions with you, the congregation, just reimagining and thinking about the music program that we want to have. And then before I left for sabbatical, I hired Nicholas Johnson to be our interim music director. So now we are in a different phase. So some highlights this year with our time with Nick, we've had new musicians joining our worship life, some of whom have also joined the congregation, which is very exciting. We have a growing sense of meaning and belonging in our music program. There was a music department dinner and fundraiser, which was wildly successful. and just generally great to have some new energy and leadership in our Sunday worship time together. Okay, so here's where we are with our music director search. So May 15th, we put our job description, which is a 25-hour-a-week position, out into the music world. We will keep that job description, that job open, job posting will stay open until June 15th. And we hope to have a permanent hire by either August, middle of August or September. And Nicholas Johnson has has offered his interest in this permanent position. So he will also be a candidate for this position. When will we hear back from the music ministry regarding the survey we participated in? I guess that might have been something that happened while I was away. So I'm going to have to connect with Jennifer Thilo, who's the chairperson of the Music Advisory Committee, about how they're going to share that out. And we love Nick. Yes, we are definitely hearing that. Okay, but I just wanted to give you all a sense of the timeline and what's going on there. And also, I really hope you will come and attend Music Sunday on May 31st. That's Sunday, May 31st. And Nick is going to share a lot more about his life, his journey, and his vision also for the music department at UUCA, as well as we'll just hear some incredible music on that Sunday. So we are excited. Okay. So sabbatical, this was a year that I went through sabbatical, and sorry, somebody's directing me. Okay, so sabbatical, yes, there were kind of three sections of my sabbatical, and I just wanted to talk about it with you a little bit because I haven't really made a report on my sabbatical to you, the congregation. There was the part that was pilgrimage and adventure. This contained multiple long walks and deep inner struggles. I don't need to go into the inner workings of those struggles right now, but they happened. And I think I've shared a little bit about that. Also, this portion was marked by deep solitude and also dream work. I noticed that I was remembering my dreams more on sabbatical than I ever have before in my life in recent memory, which brought some new psychological insights. And I don't know if you all know this, but my focus in seminary was psychology and religion, and I was able to learn from some really fantastic depth psychologists who I had the honor of learning from at Union Theological Seminary in New York City. So I'm actually deeply interested in what kind of healing faith, religion, and religious community can do. So I explored some of that in my pilgrimage time. Also, while I traveled the world, I went to Portugal, Spain, and then I spent also a little over 2 weeks in Japan. I was deeply inspired by culture that I encountered, specifically some Japanese design concepts, such as wabi-sabi, which is like purposeful, wabi-sabi is like purposeful decay, is the best way that I could describe that. And threshold crossings, torii gates, healing spaces, the art of bonsai, onsen, healing waters. If you really know me, you know that I really love like spas and hot tubs and things like that. And I do find water to be deeply healing. And then also just thought more about what it means to really decolonize church, to build a congregation that is centering and uplifting the marginalized always, from a position, as a congregation, and what church can do to really be a force of liberation within and outside of its walls. So that I encountered that also in some of the Catholic spaces while I was in Europe. And then also I had a portion of my sabbatical that was focused on mindfulness and grief. I encountered the Ignatius House in Sandy Springs and attended some of their grief workshops, which included a guided grief hike, which was deeply meaningful and transformative for me and is something I might consider us doing together at UUCA a guided grief hike. I'd love to talk to Reverend Ian about what that could be. And then I also flew to New York to attend a workshop with my favorite poet, David Whyte, who is a British poet who ended up talking also a lot about grief and courage, which are two things that I felt like I needed to explore at this particular moment in our history, both as a congregation and as a nation. We'll go to the next slide. I think those are some images. Yes. So these are some images never before seen, because I just put them on my phone and sent them to Bryce randomly. But these are some of the images from my Camino de Santiago. So as you can see, there were these beautiful like mountain sides on the far left photo. And there I am with like a little piece of wheat that was this like silver grass that I carried in my backpack the entire way. You can see it right behind me. And then there was a lot of seaside walking. So I showed the boat, and I think that was a little beach where I found a ton of sea glass. This was a monastery on the far right. That was a very rainbow, beautiful monastery. And these stained glass featured broken chains. One of them had broken chains in their stained glass. One of them had a dove, peace dove. Anyway, really awesome. And then there on the bottom left, I am standing in front of the Cathedral of St. James, the de Santiago. And there's the little group of kind of travelers who I didn't walk with them, but we were there at the destination together. And there I am freaking out about having made it 177 miles. And this is just another image of a beautiful cathedral that I encountered on the way. So what emerged from my sabbatical time was something that has stayed with me. I'm so grateful. Daily somatic, physical, and spiritual practice that I do every single day. Greater attention to my body as well as my spirit. And I have to say, those of you who've raised young children, like I felt like I was barely aware that I still had a body. So there was a lot of like returning to that awareness, exploring the possibilities of continuing in my own education, perhaps with spiritual direction, or I'm looking at a certification in facilitation, which could really benefit our congregational gatherings here. And then some ministry insights. So my family attended an innovative, a 2,000 member Episcopal church in Midtown Atlanta. And that I got a lot of insights from that about how we might frame and think about our mission and our ministry for our city. And just this, again, continuing to understand church as healing, liberating, and belonging. And then just some personal renewal. I deepened some friendships, connected with my women's spirituality group, and I parented with greater presence. So it was a sabbatical that was not squandered. It was a very full and fulfilling sabbatical, and I'm so grateful to all of you for the support, and especially to those who contributed to the Thrive campaign. I want to say, we'll talk about this in a minute, but the Thrive campaign continues, and we still have about $200,000 outstanding to complete that campaign. So some of you may be hearing from us once again. But this is a growing congregation with 2 ministers. It's super exciting to have welcomed Reverend Ian to UUCA. And so I just wanted to share that now that we have 2 ministers and we are growing in some new ways, that means some different things as we think about sustainability in our staff and in our ministry. So a healthy ministry really requires sustainability, especially if we want to keep our wonderful staff and ministry for longer term, which includes me, everybody. I'm talking about myself. So Reverend Ian and I are often thinking and talking about shared leadership and redundancies. So I'm just saying you might not see me in as many places as I was before the sabbatical, right? And before we had a second minister. So that was one era where you had a senior minister like running around doing all the things, going to all the places, and you're not going to see that as much now. So if Reverend Ian might be somewhere, and then I will not be there, or maybe I'm going to attend an event and Reverend Ian will not be there. So that's something that we're figuring it out, but we're not both going to be everywhere. That's not how it's going to be. Sustainable pacing really matters in our own lives and in our ministries. And this is part of long-term staff sustainability. You know, this is also I'm going to call out our executive director, Bryce Thomason, who is also extremely competent and can be somewhat overachieving at times. And so, we have all been working on making our work lives sustainable and efficient. And so that means clocking out at the end of the day as much as we can. Also, we need to be thinking as a congregation about keeping our compensation competitive. So everyone is thinking about inflation, and your staff are also thinking about it too. So it costs a lot more in 2026 to be thriving in Atlanta than it did even 3 years ago. So this is something that I would encourage the congregation to continue to talk about. And then also just more strategic focus across ministry areas instead of everyone doing everything. So my focus is going to be more the focus of a visionary leader, focusing on our mission, our governance, building our staff culture, our strategic vision, looking into the future, connecting with our partnerships outside of the congregation, and other ways to serve our colleagues in our UU faith and leadership. So that will be a little bit more my focus. So you might see me moving differently because of that. Happy to answer questions about that as well. And I think I'm ready to pass the mic to our executive director, who also is the award winner. He has won the Keeping of the Flame award. And I feel like he's won this award like 5-6 years running now. But he's the keeper of our flame, Bryce Thomason. But first, he's got to unmute. Yay! I told Bryce.
Yay, okay. I started to say I'm also the one that blushes a lot when you say things like that. I was like just see myself on my camera go beat red. But as executive director, much of my work it happens behind the scenes, which means that like if things are working smoothly, you may not always see the systems, the logistics, the stewardship, the problem solving that make ministry possible. But I think this year might be different because I think it became visible just how much strong operations matter to the life of UUCA. So, as I was looking back on 25 and 26, the program year, I see three big themes: shared leadership, growth, and stewardship. And so this really was a year of both accomplishment and stretch for UUCA. We navigated Reverend Taryn's sabbatical. We heard from Reverend Taryn and Reverend Ian about expanded partnership. We hosted our largest Soul Summit to date. We've strengthened our campus, improved operations, and continued building systems that we need to support the congregation that we're becoming. And so as I reflect on the year, I think of these three themes that are kind of telling the story best, at least from my standpoint, which is shared leadership, growth, and stewardship. And so first, shared leadership. This year, we navigated Reverend Taryn's sabbatical, moving away from this planning into reality, and then ultimately to this successful completion. And in order to make that happen, a great deal of staff and leadership energy went into ensuring the sabbatical was not simply an absence to manage, but it was actually a season of continued ministry and momentum for us. And so I'm deeply grateful for Reverend Jake Morrow for serving as our sabbatical senior minister, and to Reverend Ian and Nick, our staff, lay leaders, and all the volunteers who kind of helped carry the ministry through that sabbatical season. And one of the quieter successes of the year in UUCA's life is that it didn't pause. Like this whole time, ministry continued, leadership expanded. And I think that we kind of all learned together that healthy congregations are strengthened when we can share our leadership with each other. And then that second point of growth, this year we hosted our largest Soul Summit to date under the theme Living Liberation and Leading Change. We welcomed 111 participants from 8 states and 20 congregations. And what people experienced publicly was meaningful programming, connection, community, and behind the scenes, it required a tremendous amount of coordination, logistics, hospitality, volunteer leadership, and just getting our campus prepared. For me, so continues to be one of the clearest expression of this congregation, of UUCA's growing role as not a regional leader. I think it's bigger than that. I think we're showing ourselves as a national leader in justice-centered spiritual formation, and we're doing that through Soul Summit. But just days after Soul Summit, I mean, like while Soul Summit is happening, we're having conversations as we welcome Talk Schools, who moved in a week later to this campus, bringing approximately 90 international students from over 20 countries into our building throughout the week. And so financially, this partnership represents $67,500 in projected rental income this year, just from them. And next year, that will grow to $90,000. And it just makes the campus more alive. Like before, Monday through Thursday, as you know, the staff were here in the building, we would just see ourselves. It was a bit of a ghost town during the week. And now the halls are filled with young international students who I think reflect who it is when we designed this campus of wanting this to be a hub of education, a place for, you know, where people could come and feel safe. And so they do that. And so you'll see them in the hallways, you'll see them with picnics out on the lawn. Our campus is very active during the week. And I just especially wanted to recognize Shannon Pruitt and our facilities team for the enormous operational lift involved in making that partnership successful. We were approached by Talk Schools the second week of March and had them moved in on April 1st. And that literally meant some of your staff going to their campus in Midtown with a U-Haul and bringing some of their furniture over here. So a big operational lift. And much of what happened with Talk Schools was invisible to most of the congregation. We just send an email and be like, hey, this is happening. But classrooms had to be prepared. We had technology installed and coordinated, parking, access, hospitality, furniture. We had electrical room work done in all of the classrooms, projectors installed in all the classroom, countless details that had to come together really quickly and smoothly. So just want to thank everyone who helped to make that happen behind the scenes. And just this thought that good ministry often depends on quiet competence. And this year there was a great deal of that. And then finally, this third, stewardship. This year, we continued investing in both the physical campus here and the systems that support congregational life. The new labyrinth, which a lot of folks already started walking, has transformed our woodland gardens into a place for contemplation and healing and grounded and true welcome. And at the same time, the solar project is continuing and it'll advance as part of our long-term commitment to sustainability. We made some quieter but really important operational improvements. We changed our HVAC providers. One result of that is that we were able to save more than $12,000 on a major repair last month. We've also moved to a new janitorial partner that's providing expanded service, and we've transitioned to a new security company that's both more personable and a lower cost than our previous arrangement. And so, while these may sound like small operational decisions over time, that kind of stewardship, it really does matter. And then we're sustaining the congregation. This was a year of meaningful accomplishment, but it was also a year of real financial pressure. And so while we made important progress, we also had to rely this year on approximately $55,000 by tapping our emergency reserves to support operation. And that kind of thing, it's manageable in the short term, but it's not something that we can normalize. And so looking ahead, we still need to be looking at growing pledging, increasing the participation in our fundraising, strengthening partnerships, rebuilding reserves. They're all part of the stewardship that's required to sustain this congregation that we want to become. And I'll just say that it's because that stewardship, it's not separate from ministry, right? Stewardship is how ministry becomes sustainable. And this is where I want to pause and just express deep gratitude, as Reverend Ian and Reverend Taryn already did, to our 47 donors who have already stepped through and supported us with our Thrive Mini Capital campaign. Again, that capital campaign that's happening is Reverend Taryn was able to go on a healthy sabbatical. It helps fund Reverend Ian's ministry. It supports fair and sustainable wages. And this year alone, Thrive has already allowed UUCA to pay down more than $150,000 on our building loan. So that is strengthening our financial future, which really matters. And the truth is like raising that first $1 million of Thrive was comparatively easy. And this final stretch has proven much harder. We still need $205,000 to complete that campaign. And candidly, I think many people may be waiting, just hoping that someone else will step forward and finish it. But congregations never work because of someone else. So I will never ask you to do something that I'm unwilling to do myself. I am one of the 47 pledgers, and I truly believe in what Thrive is making possible. So, final pitch. The reality is that every single one of us is already a benefactor of Thrive. We're worshiping in its impact. We're staffing the ministry through its support, and we're strengthening UUCA's future because of what it makes possible. So, if you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting for the right moment, I just want to say this is the moment. There really is no one but us to finish what we started together. So if you take all of this together, this was a year of both accomplishment, but also of stretch. We navigated sabbatical leadership through shared ministry, hosted our largest soul summit to date. We expanded sustainability. We did expanded our campus use, and we strengthened our long-term foundation. And so, honestly, not everything was easy, and not everything happened just as quickly as we would have liked. But the larger story is clear. UUCA moved forward with purpose through a challenging year. And I believe we're entering this next chapter with greater clarity, resilience, and momentum. But we have important work to do. And so I'll end by just saying that while we have a strong foundation and committed people and a congregation that continues to show up for one another, there is no one but us to build what comes next. And so I'm just thankful for walking this journey with each of you.
I know this is taking a long time. It's been such a full year. I just want to wrap up. Thank you so much to Bryce. But I want to wrap up by just saying that if you have felt welcomed and informed, please thank Lynette, our administrative professional who's at our front desk. If you've come to UCA and you felt confident about your financial contribution going to the right place and being used well, please thank Gary Youngblood, our meticulous and delightful bookkeeper, and Travis Vaughn, our wonderful office administrator. And if you have ever felt warmly cared for and held through planning a memorial or another event at UUCA, please thank Shannon Pruitt, our fabulous facilities administrator. If you have ever come to UUCA and felt just an ineffable sense of beauty, radical hospitality, order, thoughtfulness, and great vibes, please thank Sebastian Williams and Melinda Schmidt, our excellent building hosts. If you have felt beauty and connection with our online services, with our worship services while watching from home or out of town, please thank our head of audiovisual AV, Michael Dangerfield. If you have heard crisp, clear sound on Sunday mornings, please thank our audio tech, the wonderful Jeep Hook. If you have felt moved, uplifted, or wonderment and awe at our music on Sundays, please thank Nicholas Johnson, our interim music director. If you've ever felt soothed by gorgeous piano playing on Sundays, please take a moment to thank Patrick Hutchison, our accompanist. If you have ever felt like your religious education volunteer work was well prepared and organized for you, please take a moment to thank Camille Cassingham, our religious education administrative assistant. And if you've ever felt inspired and transformed by your teaching or your learning experience in religious education, please thank Laura Beth Brown, our fabulous director of RE. If you have ever felt excited by some of our upcoming or past events on social media, please take a moment to reach out to CJ Johnson and thank him. He is our social media professional. If you've ever felt inspired by our youth or grateful for our excellent youth program, please take a moment to thank Arlene Johnson, our youth ministries coordinator. If you have ever felt cared for by pastoral care or felt held by our social justice ministries or experienced the warm and wonderful presence in ministry, please thank Reverend E.N. Hill, our excellent associate minister. If you have ever felt awe and wonder at how many things at UUCA are working well, thriving and flourishing on our campus, from the facility to the innovation, to the staff energy, to the financial transparency, to the overall management of this shared dream we are building together, please thank Bryce Thomason, our executive director. And if your last name is Johnson, well, you might work here. I am so grateful in all serious to our staff, and I'm looking forward to next year as we integrate our brand new labyrinth. It's so exciting. We're so grateful to our endowment committee and our endowment fund for our gift of our labyrinth, as well as other donors in the congregation. We look forward to integrating that. We look forward to engaging in strategic planning together and just continuing to build on all of this growth and energy. So thank you. Oh, there's another slide about the pilgrimage continuing. We are becoming the congregation that this moment asks us to be. And I thank you for moving through this journey with me together.
Okay. Thanks very much, Reverend Taryn, Reverend Ian, Bryce. Really a tremendous update on a tremendous year. Now to a slightly drier topic, just a couple slides to give an update on our current financial situation. We only meet this way twice a year, so we want to make sure to keep everybody in the loop. Unfortunately, our finance trustee, Colin Murphy, who has been very active in all the conversations running the finance committee for this year was unable to join us today. So I will be walking you through some high level financial updates. We began 2026 with an operating deficit of approximately $71,000. So we started off the year in an awkward position, deficit left over from 2025. This created some immediate cash flow problems that was compounded. About 30,000 of the 71,000 was pledge shortfalls from the previous year. So we are all aware that our pledge is a promise. We're also aware that a year is a long time and it's difficult sometimes to make good on your promises, but we budget based on that. And so we're mindful of trying to work with people, but we're also we create some expectations in our promises to the community. We were able to carefully manage our expenses, and that allowed us to come in under budget for 2025, but it was not quite enough to make up for that shortfall. As well, in 2025, our fundraising targets underperformed our goals by about $17,000. And so that shortfall also contributed meaningfully to the operating budget deficit that we carried into 2026. Your church leadership and the board took various corrective action steps in the first half of this year to stabilize operations, including a freeze on some discretionary spending and drawing the $55,000 that Bryce had mentioned from our reserve accounts, which exist specifically for that purpose, such as emergency capital expense reserves. That work to stabilize and recover some of that money continued. And now our pledge income, and through the end of April, as we kind of close out months at a time, is now ahead of budget, reflecting both a stronger 2026 fulfillment as well as a successful cleanup and reaching out to receive a lot of that $30,000 pledge shortfall from 2025. Our cash position is materially healthier than where we started the year, and we were no longer relying on delayed Thrive transfers to support operations. The Thrive funds, of course, are dedicated to very specific needs. And that's why we raised that money, and that is the only thing we will spend that money on. And so while there were different ways to approach the accounting of that. We pivoted to use the money from the emergency reserve accounts so that no Thrive money is being spent on anything other than Thrive specific plans.
Can you advance to the next slide, please? Thank you.
Oh, sorry about that. Thank you. The emergency reserves have been drawn down by about $55,000, and so we will need to budget over the next couple of budget cycles to replace those funds. That's a requirement of our bylaws, and part of having that flexibility also means that we need to address replacing it in the future. So here's a quick snapshot of our revenue and expenses year to date. And just to point out some of what went into sort of writing our short-term cash flow issues, really thoughtful stewardship, as well as the pursuit of realistic options, really provides a great example of how professionally we manage our operations here at UUCA. We were able to protect those restricted funds, the Thrive funds, for their intended purpose, and use the emergency funds as they were designed to. And we were also able, for example, Bryce mentioned this earlier, we had a $17,000 quote for an HVAC repair. But by working to get some other quotes, look at some other providers, we ended up changing vendors. We were able to complete that repair for 25% of the original quote. Something to highlight. Fundraising is again a challenge for this year. As we have stabilized other aspects of the budget, this is one of the areas that are of our primary focus. The congregation's approved budget for 2026 assumes a target of $30,000 in fundraising revenue. As of the end of April, we've only raised about 4% of that goal, and that puts us at risk for ending 2026 with a deficit similar to where we were at the end of 2025. We currently have one major fundraiser on the calendar. That's the production of Hate Mail, the play, in our social hall. That's for the next 2 weekends. There are 6 performances scheduled for that, but we have sold only 24 tickets. I know there will be more than 24 people in attendance. I can think of 2 right off the bat that will be here that have not purchased tickets. If you are planning to go, please do. It allows us to plan a little bit better, and also just makes it a little less stressful than waiting till, say, 3 days before the event and you've only sold a handful of tickets and then 100 people show up. The congregation approved a budget that assumes fundraising success, and we are asking you to attend and support these events. And we are also asking you to help generate some ideas, volunteer your energy, and create some momentum around the fundraising experiences. The good news, and this is good news, is that we are financially healthier than we were at the start of the year, and we are on a good path. But the message is that to continue our progress requires all of us fulfilling pledges, supporting fundraising, completing the Thrive campaign, and continuing to steward this congregation carefully together. Ask questions if you have them. Help us work through some ideas and solutions. We know that we can do this. We have proven in recent years that we can do big things, and we will continue to do that. If you have fundraising ideas or want to get involved in staging a fundraising event, or maybe help publicize events outside of UUCA to bring more folks through our building and through our campus and through our events to experience what we do here, please reach out to us, the board at uuca.org, email. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your ideas, and we'd love to help get you involved in making some of this happen. So thanks very much. And now I'm going to turn this over to John Guyton, the Endowment Fund President, to talk a little bit about where things are at with the endowment.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Volume's a little low, John.
Volume's a little low. Well, I can try without this. Now.
Oh, that's better. Thanks.
No, I can't hear. All right, well, I'm just going to try the headphones, and I'll try to hold this a little closer. I am president of the Endowment Fund. If you aren't aware, what the Endowment Fund does, it provides grants to projects that contribute UUCA's future prosperity. These are long-term grants. We also do some loans. the Endowment Fund is a tax-exempt vehicle for you to donate to provide long-term support, and the assets are used exclusively for religious, charitable, and educational purposes at UUCA.
Hey, John,
Yes.
can you put the microphone closer to your mouth?
Is that better?
Yes, like that.
Wow. All right. So the current assets of the endowment fund as of May 1st is, you can see on there, $1,650,000, almost 651. And that's grown by about 16% since a year ago. Mainly that's through investments growth, although we have some donations, which you'll see coming up. That asset also includes the outstanding balance on a building loan that the endowment fund made to UCA during 2021 when the building needed funding to complete the construction of our building. So the past year, the investment, as you can see, grew by over 9%. That's just in the investment side of it. The donations, I'm separating this by the calendar year of 2025 and so far this year for 2026. It's obviously having a meeting here in May. So you get an idea what the donations are. Most of those donations are what's called the Birthday Club, which I mentioned there. We have 117 people who've contributed. These are not just people in the Birthday Club, but actually made contributions in the past year. So thank you very much for those people. That, in case you don't know what that is where you donate your age and to the endowment fund annually on your birthday. We send you a reminder email, and if you'd like to join that, you can join us by contacting those two contacts down below. The Legacy Society, we have 71 members, which grew 25% last year. Those are the people that have indicated or told us that they put the endowment fund in their estate plans, bequests, those kind of things. And that is putting the endowment fund in those, not just UCA. So these are long-term, obviously, this is how we grow the endowment fund because we're going to get a lot more money through those donations. We did not receive any in the past year. So all of those donations you see there pretty much are Birthday Club, or we do receive some money in memorial gifts. But the vast majority of those donations are Birthday Club donations. Okay, next page, slide. Okay, some of the quick highlights. We helped fund in support of the labyrinth that was discussed earlier. We didn't fund it completely. There are some congregants who have contributed to that, but we did provide a grant to support that. It was about almost $15,000. UCA also repaid the loan. This was a loan that UCA took out with the endowment fund in 2023. It's a long story, but basically through a pandemic program called the Employee Retention Tax Credit Program, they hadn't gotten the money from the federal government, so they asked us for a short-term loan, us being the endowment fund, and that was the amount that was repaid. That was last summer we received that money. Took a while, but we finally received it. So the other thing, Frank Chu, he had been the president of the endowment fund for over a decade, I believe. Also a very involved congregant at UCA for many years. Passed away several years ago. We have put a memorial plaque in his honor in the memorial garden that we paid for. Congregant Arlo Kilmer, a lot of you know, is very creative with his what he does, and we needed a new memorial plaque, which is in the library. And if you haven't seen those, there's a memorial plaque, contributions plaque. Well, we had filled up our memorial plaque, and these are people who had, when they had passed away, they had put the endowment fund in their estate plan. That board had filled up, and so we needed a new board, and it was going to cost over $1,000 for a new board. And Bryce suggested contacting Arlo, and Arlo graciously created a new board for us. So thank you very much for that. The other highlight this year is we worked with the UUCA to restructure that building loan that I talked about earlier. That payments are going to start now in 2028. We're also going to receive a little bit higher payments than we were before. So that was a good thing for all of us. And last but not least, this is for the future, the endowment fund. Our big task coming up this year is we're focused on our governance internal. Okay, next, that's fine. Next slide. So how can you support the endowment fund? You can through direct donations, either through memorial donations in honor of people who do pass away. It doesn't have to be a formal thing where the families request that. You can do it yourself. Also, birthday club donations, which I explained briefly earlier, and then the Legacy Society, and that's explained right there. You can give directly to the endowment fund through UUCA and Realm, or you can also just mail or drop a check into the basket and just make sure you put the UUCA endowment fund on the memo line. And requests, that information is on the website, on our webpage, which is on the UUCA website. Okay, next page. So in case you're wondering who in the world is on the endowment fund board, there they are. We had one person step down this year. That's Peggy Orson, and Barbara Begner is now going to be joining us, and our year starts this month. So Barbara will be joining us beginning this month. And Colin has been our board liaison, which is very helpful, attends our meetings. Okay, next page. Last but not least, thank you so much for those who have supported the endowment fund. We look forward to more support in the future.
Thank you, John. And now for my favorite part. Next slide, please. Let's see if I can find what I was going to say. Yeah, I really want to thank this year's UUCA Board of Trustees. Derek, you are incredible to work with, absolutely incredible. Colin, meticulous, like you said. George, just, you know, if there's a question, George has the answers. So great. LaTanya, yeah, just adore you. Carl, yeah, I know your work with the healthy relations. Gotta love it. Terry Carpenter, yes, fabulous to have you on there. Laura Rose, yeah, you and I can roll off and go camping or something together, right? Yes, we can do this. And Andrea, happy that you're filling in, looking across her at the room. This is great. Next slide, please. You've all been fabulous to work with. So, board goals that were set at the beginning of the year. We wanted to build AirMac capacity throughout UUCA. We did work on that within the board internally, had some great discussions and saw some wonderful videos that really are thinking about things. We begin process to revise the in-statements. That one will subsequently happen through the next year. We revised and strengthened our monitoring system. That one did happen. We did a lot of work on that. We updated the bylaws and policies for coherence and continuity. It's fabulous, exciting bylaw work. I love it. We're renewing our connections to the UUA in the Southern region, and we supported the executive team with fundraising. So some pretty good short summary board goals that we worked on. Next slide, please. And now here's, this is my report, things that I wanted to say, but first a commercial break there. Please buy your tickets to Hate Mail. There's the QR code right there for you. So, I'm losing screens. Hang on here. Give me a second to get all of these. So, as I roll off the board and on to new endeavors, I've taken a few minutes to reflect about the events of the past year and about being board president in general. It has been a crazy active year. You've heard the reports. I won't relist all of the things that have done. Personally, It's a special treat to have 3 ministers to work with in a year. And that was really special. Our board retreat, when we had 3 ministers helping us facilitate everything, that was especially extraordinary. In addition, as the congregation, we modified those bylaws. You saw that. We had a fantastic stewardship campaign. The usual list: built the labyrinth, added a regular renter in the school. We updated the covenant. Yay, I can add that. I was going to knock it out there if we didn't do it today. And we agreed to add solar panels to our building. All of that deserves some celebration. What an amazing time. And this was all with Taryn on sabbatical for a big chunk of it. So congratulations, board. Congratulations, congregation. So what is it like to be a board president? Well, I find that being a board president is really, really solid volunteer work. Sometimes it's hard because difficult decisions have to be made. Sometimes it's joyful. Yay, solar panels. Woohoo! And in the middle of all those highs and lows, you get to work with some really incredible people that help keep UUCA thriving. You get to know each other pretty well because you spend multiple years with them and you find out about their life highs and lows and all the in-betweens. You get to eat amazing vegan food as we feed each other at the monthly board meetings. We fight over who gets to send out thank you cards. Well, maybe not fight, but we get to discuss who gets to send out thank you cards to people. And we keep this incredible place moving to help transform lives. So as I look back, I'm humbled that you asked me to do this twice. I'm appreciative that I was an important cog in the wheel, truly appreciative. And mostly, I am so crazy grateful that I'm a part of this fabulous, amazing, inspiring, energizing community. Thank you. Yeah. And here goes the favorite part. I'm taking off my board badge, putting it on the table, putting on my Legacy Society, John. There you go, John. Yes. Badge back on. And I'm officially handing you over to Derek. Thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful.
Thank you, Deanne. On behalf of the board and the whole congregation, really, thank you so much for your leadership and your wisdom, and what you bring to this process, this board, this congregation. I see here that we have still about at least 80 people, because I know there's a few doubled up, still on the call, and I love that. And I want to just make sure to remind everybody that Deanne was asked to step in on short notice. One of our dear congregants was the president-elect in the 2024-2025 year and had to step back for personal reasons. And as we continued to hold her with care and love, we needed somebody to step in on short notice that was like competent and up to speed and knew really what was being asked of them. And Deanne did not hesitate to say yes, and has spent the last probably 20 months deep in board work where perhaps she had other plans for that time. And, you know, this is what care and stewardship of our community looks like for all of us. So many people here, when they're asked, they step up. And this is a really exemplary experience of that. And we are all the better for it. So thank you so much. And I have your number, and I will have lots of questions for you. And will continue to engage you in this way, I'm sure.
Glad to help. Okay, we have, Laura.
Yes. Okay. So my observations on our process today, I'll be using the questions that you've all heard before. Did we observe our covenant? Was there good humor, goodwill, conflict, or dissent handled appropriately? And yes to all. I think Deanne's entertaining banter in dealing with all of the tricky platform and voting discussion lent to good humor and goodwill. Conflict and dissent there, I didn't really hear any of, but the discussion around the covenant amendments were all handled respectfully, thoughtfully, kindly, patiently by everyone involved in leadership and from our congregants as well. So kudos to everybody there. And keeping the respect. Did we remain on task? Yes. Thanks to Deanne, George, and our parliamentarians, June, and also Bryce, keeping us focused. How did the agenda and discussion demonstrate our commitment to anti-racism, anti-oppression, and multiculturalism? Did we share responsibility for raising Aramac concerns as appropriate? Well, much of our discussion around the healthy relationship covenant centered on diversity and radical welcome, diversity and pluralism, and then focusing on that amendment to get the language just right, I think was spot on as far as us respecting the Aramac agenda. So what was the high energy moment of the meeting? Well, for me, Reverend Ian's report on social justice and what all has occurred this year in that realm. I just loved, well, we all know how high energy Reverend Ian is, and it's contagious. But I loved how Reverend Ian spoke about justice as spiritual formation, co-liberation as the norm, and just all of their vision in moving forward with the social justice platform and getting us to focus. So that was a high energy, but also the music director search was wonderful to hear about as well. What was the low energy moment of the meeting? Probably reading protocols and approving the minutes, procedural descriptions, necessary, but not always fun. But also then the need for drawing from our reserve, the 55,000 when talking about the budget, needing to replenish that, but plans to do so. So moving forward, let's hope that happens. One of the most meaningful parts of the meeting for me was Reverend Taryn's report on her sabbatical and how much she grew and the highlights. So much to talk about there, but you all heard it. But also the ARE Interfaith Program, all of the social action programs going on in ARE. What else? I have so many notes here, but I guess that I'll end it there. But then also Deanne's report at the end on all that you have done, Deanne. Thank you so much. We'll miss you as an amazing leader, and just yeah, thank you. Those are my observations.
Yes, closing words. As we extinguish this chalice flame, may the warmth of its light remain within us, guiding our steps and our hearts. In each breath we take, may we remember that the work of love, justice, and healing is ours to continue, both here and beyond these walls. Go in peace, with the light of this gathering to illuminate your way.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
Thanks, everyone. Happy 25th anniversary, Laura Beth. I didn't see you earlier.
Thank you, Reverend Ian. Thanks, everyone.
Love y'all.
And we're adjourned. Apparently, I have to say that now because I'm actually now the one that says that.
That's right. Okay, I'll end this webinar. Bye-bye.